If you're using your Go High Level platform for building your funnels and websites and you are heavily dependent on the templates from the High Level template library, then this video is going to be really interesting for you. I'm going to pick a template from the template library and completely customize and make it look premium and more conversion focused. So follow along this video. This will be a longer tutorial because in this video I'll go in depth inside the builder. So if you want to learn the builder closely so that you can customize any other template that you want to work with from the Go High Level library, then there are a lot of golden nuggets in this video. I hope you will enjoy this video, and if you like the content, please do subscribe to my channel so that I can create more such content for you guys. Alright, so let's get started. In this video, I'm going to convert this template that you are seeing on the screen. This is an ebook template that I just loaded from the Go High Level template library. I'm going to convert this, give it a makeover, and make it really look nice and also more conversion focused. All right, so let's review this template real quick. What is there? This template has a header navigation, and then it is followed by a hero section. The hero section is a 2-column layout. On the left hand side column we have a headline and then some text, then a button, and then on the right hand side column we have an image of a book. Then it is followed by some of the topics that are covered in the book. Then it is followed by some stats. Then it is followed by an about the author section. Then there is a video review of this book. Then there are pricing plans. And then there are some testimonials, and then there is an option to subscribe to something, and then there is FAQ, and then after that there is a long footer. Right, so this is how this current template is structured. Now we are going to give it a complete makeover, and for that I have already built this out on Figma. So let's switch over to the Figma screen. Now see, this is the new design. The hero section has a 2-column layout with a headline and description and a button on the left hand side column and a book mockup on the right hand side column. That's exactly how it is also built here. Then it is covering the book features, which is similar to the topics covered inside the book. And then it is followed by a stats section. This is the stats section. And then there is about the author section. There is the video review section, there is the pricing and plans, there is a testimonial section. So all these are here. This is the video review, this is the pricing and plans, then there is a testimonial, and then there is a subscribe section, and then there is a frequently asked section and a footer. So similarly we have an FAQ and a footer. I have designed the footer a little differently. We really don't need a Google map embed on an ebook sales page, so that's why I have changed this a little bit. So this is our design, and next we will go inside the Go High Level page builder and start building that. But before we go inside the Go High Level page builder, we need to make sure that we have all our image assets ready. Images are one of the most important factors that brings life to your design. So what I have done here is I have downloaded all these images from my Figma design inside this folder, and I have kept all these assets ready. Now we can go back to the page builder and start designing it as per our design built on Figma. And the first thing that we will design is the header navigation here. So let's check out the header navigation design on Figma. This is our header navigation. The hex code here is 3333. So I'll copy the hex code. This will go to the background color of the header navigation. See, another thing that I usually practice, this is one of the best practices that you should also follow, is I go to the layers panel and then I name the sections currently. Right now, the header navigation is named as business consulting. So I don't want this. I want this to be named header navigation. All right, so that when I'm on the layers panel, I can view each of the sections correctly and easily. Now, I'm going to make the background color of this the hex code that I've used on Figma. Okay, it says the palette already exists. So maybe this is the one. All right, so that is how I made this background color. Now let's go ahead and update the logo here. So I'll select this logo. I'll go to the image settings, and then I will add the logo. Now the logo is updated. Next, what I'll do is I don't want these menus. So I'll get rid of these menu options, but I do want a button here. All right, so I'm going to get rid of these menu options, and then I'm going to add a button. For the button style, I will make this fluid, and I will make the button left aligned. And let's see if there is any padding here. So I'll get rid of the padding from the column level so that the button is at the extreme left. All right, and now as per our design, I will update the button. The button design says buy now, and the color is FFBB00. This is the hex code. So I'll go to the button. I'll go to styles. I'll add 40 pixels side paddings, and I'll make the top and bottom padding 10 pixels. I'll get rid of the border. Oh, maybe I'll keep the border, but the border radius will be 10. Right, and the border color, I can use the same color from the Figma design. All right, and let me also change the button background color. All right, so now we have replicated our header navigation design as per our Figma design. Next, we will move on to the hero section and redesign the hero section. Now, this is the hero section on the page builder, and we want to make this look like this. This is the hero section on our Figma design, right? So the first thing that I'm going to do is change the background of the hero section. So let's select the hero section. And again, one of the best practice that I always recommend is to name the section correctly, so that when you are in the layers panel, you can see the respective sections here and you know what's the purpose of each of these sections. So right now I'm working with the hero section. So I'll select this section from here and I'll name this hero section. All right, so that is the first activity. Next, in order to achieve the design in Figma, what I'm going to do is update the background image of the section. So I'll go to the image settings and then I'll upload a background image. And now I have added the background image. Now for the background image, I'll do a couple of settings here. In the image options, I'll make this full center and I'll make the image opacity none. See, I'm still not getting this design, right? This might be because the background image is stretching too far. That's why I can see a part of this. So how can I achieve this design? I need to add more padding, top and bottom padding to the section. So let me make the top padding 100 pixels and the bottom padding also 100 pixels. Let's see. I think we have achieved this design here. Great. Now, next, let's move on to the headline. The headline here says perfect landing page to sell your book. That's what I have written on Figma. But yeah, I just want to put some realistic headline here. So what I'll do is I'll go to my own website. This is the task system website. From here, you can buy the book that shows you step by step how to design beautiful sites on Go High Level. So I'm going to copy this headline from here and I'm just going to paste it. All right, bold is fine. I'm just going to remove the bold from here and I'll go to the properties and I'll make the font weight here bold. So instead of using something called as inline editor, this thing is called the inline editor. You can also use the bold here, but the right way of bolding a specific text element is by going to the font weight and then selecting the font weight from the settings. Okay, and then if you want to override any of these general settings, then you can use the inline editor. Okay, so all these are actually explained in the task system book. If you go through the book, you will see I have explained how the inline editor functions, how it overrides the general settings. But right now, This is the headline text. You see this text is spanning to, I don't know what, 5 lines, which is not a recommended design practice. I always recommend that we make a text span up till 3 lines maximum. So I'm just going to reduce the font size. So 49 is good. Now you can see I have achieved the maximum font size, and this spans to 3 lines, and now this looks good, right? However, there is one problem. This is cutting off. We can't see the wavy pattern of the background image. So let me try another setting. Yeah, so this setting actually gives us this pattern. All right. So we have designed a part of the hero section. Now, another thing that I do is I usually put some padding to the right hand side of the left column. All right. So there is some gap between the text and the image that I will be adding here. All right. So I'll select the left hand side column, and then I'll put some padding over here. Let's say 60 pixels. Now, if I put this padding, or maybe 80 pixels, if I put this padding, you'll see the text kind of comes in 4 lines, which is again not recommended as per my design principles. So I'll go to the text and I'll reduce its size a little bit so that it comes in 3 lines. All right, so 42 pixel looks good. Next, let's also update the description. So let's do something. Let's get rid of this paragraph. Okay, and let me add a new paragraph altogether. This is a new paragraph, right? Let's style it. Let's make the font size 20 pixels, and then let's make it left aligned. And now let me copy this description and paste it over here. With this, we are getting close to the design that we want to achieve. So we have added the headline, we have added the description. Now let's style this button. All right, so this is the button that we have. I don't need this icon. I'll select this button and I'll just get rid of the icon first. Secondly, I'll make the round corners less round. This is a pill-shaped button, but in our design, we have rounded corners for the button, right? So we don't need a pill-shaped button. So I'll go to the border radius and I'll make it 10 pixels. Okay, so these are the first couple of settings that I did. Then next is buy now. Now the buy now text is a little bigger than what we have here. So let me increase the text font size. Let me make it 20, and then this text is all caps. So I'll go to the text transformation and I'll make it uppercase. The text color is dark, is black. I'll make this text color black. Now let's work with the background of this button. The background color is yellow, so I'll select the yellow. And the only part that's remaining now is to put a color to the border of this button, because the border color is still appearing blue. So I'll select the button, I'll go to the border and make the border color also yellow. So that's how you see I have styled this button. Now the next thing that I'll do is I'll adjust the spacing between these text elements and the button, because it all is looking so cramped, right? The headline is right on top of this paragraph text, and the button and the paragraph text are almost touching. So there should be proper visual hierarchy. And by visual hierarchy, I mean that the headline and the text should be read as the same group, and the button could be a separate group altogether, where the focus is just to click the button and to take the action. So let's first create the gap between the headline and the paragraph text. So I'll select the bottom element, which is the paragraph text, and I'll apply a top margin. However, it looks like there is a bottom margin applied to the headline text. So let's see that. Yes, this is the headline text, and you see there is a 12 pixel bottom margin. So ideally what I recommend is, this is the best practice that I have defined in the task system book, that you should always select the bottom element and apply a top margin when you are creating spacing. All right, so I'm just going to get rid of the bottom margin from the top element, and I'm going to select the bottom element and apply a top margin of 15 pixels. This is the right way of creating spacing as per the task system. See, there are various ways you can create spacing and you can achieve a design. But what we focus on the task system is to follow a specific standard so that you are not lost, I'll cover the task system in more depth in one of my workshops, but right now our goal is to quickly build out this section. So we will go ahead and complete this build. Next, let's create the gap between the button and this paragraph text. So for that, I'll get rid of, okay, so there is no bottom text here in this paragraph element. So you see, this is right away an inconsistent way of adding spacing. See, in the initial example, there was a bottom margin on the headline, right? Now here, the way the gap is created is there is a top margin on the button. So this is an inconsistent way of creating gaps. You should follow a proper standard so that you are not confused with what you have designed on the page builder. This is right. This is what I recommend. We select the bottom element and apply a top margin to create the gap. But here, instead of 10 pixels, we will make it 35 pixels so that there is ample gap between the paragraph and the button. What this does is this creates a visual hierarchy. Now your headline and the paragraph are in the same group. People will read the headline, then they will read the supporting paragraph, and then what they need to do is click the button and take action. Okay. So button is away from this group and the call to action button is its own entity. This gap makes the button stand out. Okay, so that's how you create the visual hierarchy, and it is so important for conversions. So with that, we have created the design of the left hand side column, and let's just get rid of this, or you can just say that 100% secured checkout. You can use this text for anything, anything that improves your conversion. The next thing that we need to do is add an image to the right hand side column. So let's select the right hand side column and see this image here is added to the background of this column, right? So I'm not sure why it has been added like that, but let's get rid of the background image from this column. Now let's add the image element here. The image element comes with some default paddings of 10 pixels around it. We don't need these default paddings. So I'm just going to get rid of these paddings. All right, and now let's add the image. I'll go to my folder where I have stored all the necessary assets for this design. This is the book mockup. This image is rather appearing small to me, to my eyes. If I look at this design, the image is a little bigger, right? But here it is appearing a little smaller. What can I do to increase its size? I can increase the column width. That will increase the size of this image. And let's see how it has impacted the headline. It has impacted the headline, right? The headline has now stretched to 4 lines. So I'm going to have to reduce the headline size a little bit more. Let's make it 40 pixels. Let's see. Or I can reduce the padding from the left panel. Let's get rid of this. Now it's looking better. Next, let's try to fix the mobile design for this. Now, when I see the mobile design, you see there is a lot of space here. And one of the reasons is that there is some top margin assigned here. So I'll get rid of this. Still, there is a lot of space for a mobile device. So I'll make this 40 pixels. And then for mobile, I can allow the sentences to spill over to 4 to 5 lines. Right now it's in 4 lines, but if I just increase the size a little bit, I think it'll look a little better. This looks better. The paragraph looks good. The spacings are okay. All right, so I think we are good with the mobile design. The other thing that I do when optimizing the header navigation on mobile is I hide the button from the mobile. So I'll select the column. I will not just hide the button element. I'll hide this entire column that is holding this button. So I'll select the column and then I will hide this from the mobile view. I will make this logo center aligned. Now let's go back to our Figma design and build out our next section. So this is the next section, book features section, and this is how it is designed on Figma. Let's go back to our builder. For this, the first thing that I'll do is make this bold. The right way to make text bold is by going to the font weight in the general settings and select the headline font weight to be bold. Next is I'll also increase the font size. I'll make this 44. This looks good. Then let's also change the color to black. And I'll keep this paragraph as is because, if I also try to update the copy entirely like I did for the hero section, this video will go on for hours. So I'll just skip the copy and focus just on the design for now. So what's here in this column? There is a distinct background color, then there is an image, there is a headline text, then there is a paragraph. So let's first start with adding a background color to the column on the page builder. So let's select this column and then go here and add a background color. We will add the background color F9, F9, F9. All right, so you can see here the column has now a distinct background color. Then this column also has round edges. So for that, I will select this column and then I'll apply full border. Border width will be 1 pixels, border color will be transparent, and border radius will be 15 pixels. By doing this, I get this design of this rounded corners for this specific column. Now I need to update this image. So I'll just select this image and I'll go to my assets folder and I'll update the image here. Next, I don't need this divider. I'll get rid of this divider. Now this headline needs to be bolded. So I'll go to the font weight and apply bold headline. And I'll increase the size for this. Instead of 20, I'll make it 24. And this is the paragraph. The paragraph text also needs to be made dark. So I'll select a different color for the paragraph text and it should be 18 pixels. All right, with that, I have added this design. This is looking similar to this. Let me quickly update the copy. I just updated it here, but I'm going to skip this copy in the rest of the columns just so that we can focus on the styling part. So I'll apply the same things to this specific column. So in order to save time in this entire build, I'm going to fast forward the styling of these other columns. As you can see now, we have styled this exactly similar to what we have in our Figma design. Not exactly similar, like some of the images here are repeating, but you get the idea, right? And also the copy is kind of the same. So what I did was basically copy these elements over because I had already styled these elements in this column when I was styling them. So I just copied them over to the other columns so that I don't have to restyle them again by changing the font weight, the font color, the font size, etc. Once this top row was ready and styled, I just duplicated this row like this. Hence, I created this look, this design. All right, so that's how easy it is. So that is one of the best practices that I teach, that when you are designing something and if you see that the design is going to repeat, you should design it properly once and then you should copy those over to the other columns or other rows. All right, so now let's go on to the next part, which is adding this stats section. So this should be an easy one. It's already built out here. I think the stats section is built better because there are icons here and I have not used icon in my Figma design. So what I'm just going to do is change the background color for this. This white is not looking good. So yeah, I'm just going to get rid of the icons because with a yellow background, the white foreground is not looking good. I'm going to delete these icons. And then I'm going to update these texts. Update the font weight, increase the font size, and then update the font color. Also, I'll update this text. I'll make it 20 maybe. I'll make this color dark. All right, so this looks good. Now I'm going to copy these same text elements over to the other ones. Like I just said that, I don't have to style these texts again and again. I can just simply copy this and drag it to the other column. This is how you design faster. And then I'm also going to do the same with the total pages. Okay, once this is done, I'll just update the content here. So you get the point. I'm just going to delete the remainder of these text elements from each of these columns. Let me delete the white ones. Now there's one last thing that I need to do is I need to get rid of the padding. See, this padding is huge. I need to reduce the padding at the section a little bit. Let's make it 10 pixels top and 10 pixels bottom padding at the section level. So like this, we have now designed this stats section, which is here in the Figma design. All right. And then let's follow our best practice. Let's not forget to update the sections in the layer panel. So this section is topics section. Then the next section is the stats section. You see, as in when we are naming these sections inside the layer, we know exactly what's the purpose of each of the sections. Instead of, see here, we don't know what each section is for. So that's why it's a best practice to always update the name of the section. So, all right, so after this, we will move on to the About section. I have designed the About section a little differently on Figma. If you compare it with what is there on the builder, the image is reversed. The image is placed in the right hand side column and the content is on the left hand side column. For that, I'm going to get rid of this. And then I'm going to drag this image to the right hand side column. And then I'm going to drag the text to the left hand side column. This signature is not included in the Figma design, so I'm going to get rid of this. This divider is not needed. I'm going to get rid of this. I'm just going to get rid of the social icons here. Although it is there in the Figma design, I'm not going to use it. I don't like to use social icons in squeeze pages or sales pages is because I don't want to drive the traffic outside the sales page. So if there is a social icon, which means that people will click these links and go out of this sales page. So I'm just going to get rid of this. All right. I'm going to adjust the column widths a little bit like this. And then let's go and fix the column layout. Let's make it left. All right, so this is our headline. This is going to be big. This is going to be 44 and the color needs to be black. So I think someone has bolded this, right? You see what I have done here? I have removed the bold from the inline editor and now I'm going to assign a font weight by adding 700 bold here. This is the right way of assigning font weight to a text, which I have covered multiple times in this design. Now for the paragraph text, I will make these 18 pixels and I'm going to change the color from this to black like this. And I'll just duplicate this paragraph. All right, I'm going to create some spacing between the paragraph and the headline here. So I'm going to select the bottom element and apply a 15 pixels top margin. And I'm going to select this top element and get rid of the bottom margin from here. This is the standard that we follow when we are going to create spacing between two text elements. Now let's update the text. What does it say about the author? All right, so we have updated the left hand side column. Now what's remaining is updating this image. So for that, I'll select the image and then I will upload the required image from my image folder. Okay, so I have replaced this image. The only thing here is that the image is appearing too big. So we have to control the height of this image. For that, I'll select the image and I'll select pixels here and I'll make the height 300 pixels. This is a trial and error. 300 is too small, so maybe 500 pixels will work, or maybe 475 is perfect. All right, and then I will bring this entire text to the center. So I'll select the column and go to the column layout and make this center. Right, so with that, I have styled the about section just without the social icons. Like I said, I don't want to include the social icons here, although it's there in the design. So far so good. Let's have a look at our design, at our funnel makeover. So we have styled the header navigation, we have styled the hero, then we did a great job styling the topics covered in the book part. Then we updated the stats section. This was the easiest one. And then we updated the about the author section. Now the next part that we are going to update is a video review section. This section has a headline and then it's followed by a paragraph text. Then there is a video. The video has a thumbnail. And then there is a different background image added to this section. First thing that I'll do is update the background image. There's a background color in this section, so I'm just going to get rid of this background color and then I'm going to upload the background image. I need to do some settings to this image, so I'll make it full center and I don't want any image opacity, so this will be none. So our first step in designing the review section is done, which is updating the background image. The next step involves working with the headline. Now the headline here is bold and then it's of yellow color. So we need to make these two updates. I'll select this headline and then I'll make the font weight bold. I'll increase the size of the headline to 44 and then I'll make the color yellow. All right, so our headline design is also achieved. Next is the paragraph. I'll leave the paragraph as is because this is the exact design that is there in Figma. Next is we will work with the video. We will reduce the size of this video. 70% is good. And we will get rid of the paddings. And now let's replace. So instead of a video, it's an image element here. You can delete this and you can add a video element from the elements panel. This is a video element and you can choose any type of video. You can either link a YouTube video, Vimeo video, or you can even have a hosted video which you will host on the high level platform, and then you can add a thumbnail. So I'll just select the thumbnail for this video. And with that, we have completed the design for this video review section. Next, we will move on to the pricing and plan section. Let's see how we have designed it on Figma. So this is how the design is for the pricing and plans. You will notice that I have used some color gradients here, but I'm going to skip this part, adding color gradients, because that involves custom CSS. What we are trying to achieve here is a complete funnel makeover without any custom coding involved. So we are going to use all the standard features that are available in the builder. Let's see what we need to do in order to give a makeover to this pricing and plans section. This is our design. I need to style the headline. I need to make it bold and large and then dark in color. Then there is a paragraph text that follows the headline. The pricing slabs are designed like this. What you are seeing here, it has round edges. It has a different color on top. And then there are some checklist here. And then there is a button inside. All right, so let's first design one column and then we will try to replicate this same column design for the other two columns. All right, so let's first style the headline. I'll select this headline and we have seen this quite a few times, how I'm updating the headline. I'm first selecting the font weight to be bold and then I'm increasing the size of the font to 44 pixels, right? For the paragraph text, I will leave it as is. Maybe I will just reduce the width of the paragraph text a little bit to bring it in 2 lines, just like how we have in this design. All right, and maybe I'll just make the color of this text a little darker. All right, so now we have styled the headline, we have styled the paragraph text. Next, we will start styling the column. So in order to achieve this, first I have to get rid of everything that is here. Maybe I'll just keep these two couple of elements here, and that's it. All right, now the first thing that I need to do is assign a background color to this column. The background color to this column will be this F9, F9, F9. Next, let's add border to this column, which is 15 pixels. We are getting there. We have created the boundary of this column. Next is, let's try to add this design which says standard pack. So for this, I need to get a headline text element. Let's get this headline text element here. I need to make this content spacing left aligned. Okay, and now I'm going to work with this text element. This text element says standard pack. And I'm going to add some padding to this text element, which is 40 pixels on all sides. And then I'm going to add a background color to this text element, which is this. I'm going to make the color of this text element white. And then I'm going to work with the border of this text element. So I'm going to apply the top border here. It's going to be 1 pixel, and then let's apply the same border color as the background color, and then let's make the border radius 15 pixels. All right, so this is how the design is appearing. There is a bug here because although I have added top border, the border radius is getting applied to both top and bottom borders. So we may not be able to achieve this exact same design, okay? Because bottom borders are not supposed to get rounded. Only the top borders are supposed to get rounded because I have just applied the top border. All right, but it is what it is. Let's move on. It will not look bad if it is designed like this. So let's cover the other parts. Here we have these check marks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this. This is a green tick. So I'm going to change this icon to a check mark icon. This one, and the icon color will be green. Okay, and this here will be dark, the text color, and let me also increase the text size to 20 pixels or maybe 18 pixels. Right, so this is how I have added this first point here. Now this needs to be a little spaced out. So let me add 10 more pixels or 20 more pixels from the top. Now let's keep duplicating this. This should be 10 pixels apart, right? So let's see how many topics covered we have. We have 3 topics covered, and then there is a cross. Okay, so I'm just going to duplicate this 6 times and then change the icons. Now instead of a check here, the icon here is a cross. So this is the icon here, and the icon color is red. I'll just duplicate it a couple of more times and get rid of the others. And then finally there is a button here. Now let's design this button. This button is yellow and it has round edges. The button that we have here is a pill-shaped button. So the first thing that I'm going to do is get rid of the pill-shaped button and make it a round-edged button with 15 pixels border radius, or maybe 10 pixels. That's better. Then let's get rid of the icon from the button. Then the buy now is in all uppercase. So let's add text transformation to the button. Let's make the font size 20 pixels first. And then let's make the text transformation to uppercase. Let's reduce the top and bottom padding of the button to 10 pixels. And let's make the side paddings to, let's say, 100 pixels on each side. All right, so now this is looking good. Let's give the button text color, right? The button background color should be yellow. And also the button border color should be yellow. All right, so with that, we have styled this part. We have styled this column. The only thing that I would probably do here now is I'll go to the column level and then I will make the border color transparent. That's how we have built out this design, which is pretty similar to this one. The only issue here is that this round edge is appearing on all four sides of this text element. And we can't help that, but this is not looking bad. This is still looking good. Now we are going to replicate the same design for the other two columns. Once you have styled this, all you need to do is copy and paste. The first thing that I'm going to do is get rid of all the elements inside this column. Now the column is blank. Let's style the column first. Let's make the border radius 15 pixels. Let's have a background color to this column. And let's also get rid of the border color. Okay, so with that, we have now styled the column. The next thing that we will do is copy all these elements and then move it to this column. So I'm just going to copy this, move it here. Okay, so we need to also work with the column layout. Let's select the column and then make the content spacing left so that all these elements move towards the top of the column. Now let's just duplicate this and move it here. Okay, so that's how I have quickly styled the second column as well. This column says Pro Pack, so I'm just going to update the text here. I'll apply the same principle here for the third column. I'll delete all the elements inside the column. Then I'll style the column, make the border radius 15 pixels, get rid of the border color, give the column background an off-white color, and go to the column layout and make the content spacing left. And after that, all I need to do is duplicate each of these elements and pass it over to the third column. And this one is Nerd Pack. All right, so that brings us to an end to the styling of the pricing and plans. Now let's move on to the next part, which is basically creating this testimonials part. This is also designed very neatly on Figma. So this is going to be interesting and this is going to look really cool once we have completed this design. Now this is the design that we are going to build. You can see that there is a distinct background to this. So we are going to add a background image in this section, and then we have a headline, and then it is followed by 3 testimonials. Now you see what is the difference between this testimonial here and what we already have on the canvas. This testimonial, the designed one, has a distinct column, right? So basically the columns are styled here. As compared to this one, we do not have the column style, so it is not looking a separate design element on the canvas. So that is the main difference. And then after that, the arrangement of these elements are also different. So keeping this design in mind, we will start working and improving this design. So the first thing that we need to do is update the background of this section. So let's select this section, go to the image, and then add the background image. Now this is the background image. All right. And then we will make the setting of this image as full center, and that's it. Next, we need to update the headline. So for that, I'll select the headline. I'll make this 42, and then I will make the font weight bold. So we are good with the headline now. After that comes the individual columns here, right? So for the columns, let's first style the column. So the column background is white or off-white. I think I'll use the F9 color here. I'll select the column and then I will go to the background color and select the F9 color here. This is the column background. Let's also put some round edges to this column. So I'll go to styles, select full border, make the border with 1 pixel and make the border with transparent, and select border radius 15 pixels. So now I have styled the column. Now let's rearrange the elements inside this column. Before that, let me also update the font color inside this column. Because of the white background, the font is not visible. So let's make the color dark, black here. There is another font. All right, so now we can see all the different elements inside this column. Now let's rearrange them. So on the top, we have the image, then the name, and then the designation. So we will move this to the top. And then we have the name and then the designation. All right, so now we have rearranged the elements. Now what can we do? See, this image is half inside the column and half outside. So in order to achieve this, we have to use something called as the negative margin. So let's do that. And before I do that, I'll select this column and I'll make sure that there is no top padding. So I'll get rid of the top padding. And also I'll select this image, delete this image, and let me add a new image element here. Let's go to elements and then I'll search for image and add a new image element here. Get rid of the default paddings for this image. And then let's upload the image here. All right, so now this is looking good. I need to reduce the size of this image a little bit. I'll select percentage and then I will make it 75%. Maybe 45% is better. Yeah. Let's also select the column layout and make the content spacing left. All right, so now we need to play around with the negative margin of this image. 120 should be good. So you need to play it by the eye, So 120 brings this image right in the center, right? So this looks good to my eyes. And then I will also add a negative margin to the left side. So maybe 30 pixels negative margin to the left side. No, maybe a little more, because I also need to set this image to the center of this column. Right, so now this is looking fine. The only thing that I would do now is, instead of 120, I will make it 130. Move this up a little bit. All right, so now this is looking good. Make this name bold. Increase this a little bit. Instead of 14, let's make this 16 pixels. And that's it. And maybe give some side padding inside this column. So maybe 20 pixels side padding should be good. All right, so we have now achieved the design for this part. Now let's work with the second column. The second column will exactly have the same settings. So first I'm going to make this background off-white, and then let me get rid of all the different elements inside this and just copy these over. But before that, let me also style the column and make the edges round. So I'll select full border, 1 pixel, transparent border, and then we'll make the border radius 15 pixels. Now I have styled the column, and now I'll simply copy over these elements. This is the column. Let's get rid of the top padding, add 20 pixels side padding, and let me also make the column content spacing left. You see, I have achieved the same design here. So let me make these designs same for all the 3 columns, and then we will customize each of the columns in order to match our column. Also, I'll go with the white background. I'll make the border rounded. Border radius of 15 pixels. Then I'll get rid of everything inside this column. I'll also make the column layout content spacing left, and then I'll start adding all the other elements. I'll start with the image, then the name, organization, and the text. All right, and this column has 20 pixels side padding, so I'll add those side paddings and get rid of the 10 pixels top padding. So now I have styled all the different columns here. Next, what I need to do is customize each column so that it looks like this. All right, so for that, let me update the images. I'll select this image. All right, so as you see, as the images are of different sizes, you see the margin shifts and we have to adjust the negative margin again. All right, let's fix this image first. I'll keep this width to 35 and then I will adjust the side margin to 40 pixels negative, maybe 30. All right, so this looks okay. And then let's also fix this. So let's first fix the image size. This will be 50%. I need to move this image towards the right. That's why I'm using a negative right margin. Maybe 110 is better. See, this is something that you have to play by the eye and then fix it. All right, so now you can see that these are now looking good. Let me increase the bottom padding of this section. So with that, we have completed the design of this testimonial section. Now we will move on to the next section, which is the subscribe to get a preview kind of section where there is an image and there is a form. Let's see our original design. So this is our design that we will be working on. That has a headline and then it has the form on the left hand side column and then it has the image on the right hand side column. So let's get started. It also has a background, an off-white background for the section. So let's start to design this one by one. Now the first thing that I'll do is I will increase the size of this headline and then I will make the headline font weight bold. And then as there is no sub description, I'm going to get rid of this. And then the image and the form are interchanged, right? So I'm going to bring this form to the left hand side column and I'm going to drag the image over to the right hand side column. And now let's replace the image. Let's replace it with the book mockup. Right, so that's the image. Let's also fix the size of this. Let's make this percentage and 100%. And now let's also add a background to this section, which will be the same color as the background of this book mockup. Now I'll go to the section level and then I'll go to the background color and I'll add the background color to this section. All right, now this is looking good. Now I have to add this form here. So now what I usually say is that we should always build a minimalistic form and do most of the design on the builder side. What I mean by that is I have already created this form. Let me show you this form. And this is how the form looks actually in the form builder. And this is the minimalistic version of the form. I have not tried to design this like this, you know, giving a padding and a background color and stuff, because I want to do that design on the page builder. So now let's go to the page builder and design this column. So in order to design this column, I'll do something. I'll bring in another column inside this, and I'll put the form inside that column. And now I'm going to design this row that I have just added. So let me get rid of the default paddings from the parent column. Let's start working on this particular row. So for this, let me add 40 pixels side padding to all sides of this row. And then let me also add a background color to this row. Now we need to add the hex code of this background. I'll select this, and then I'll go to the background color of this row, and I'll add the background color like this. And now let's give this some round edges. So I'll select full border, and I'll make the border with 1 pixel and have the border color same as the background color, and then make the border radius 15 pixels. So like that, you got the round edges as well. Now let's also get rid of the default paddings from the column inside this row. Finally, let's add this form that we created here. This is the minimalistic form that we created. So I'm going to integrate this form onto the GHL page builder. So I'll click here. Okay, let me delete this form element and add a new one. For some reason, it is not showing me the pop-up to select the form. So I'm going to delete this, add a new form element, and we'll go to the elements panel and then drag the form element here. And you now see that there is a pop-up. From here I can select the form that I created. This is the form, and you see we got the exact design that we are looking for, except there is some issue with this checkbox. I need to update the color of this, but apart from that, you got the exact design for the subscribe to get a preview section. All right, the only thing that I would do now is add some padding to the section at the section level. All right, and yeah, this is looking good. This is exactly the design that we wanted here. All right, now after that we will move on to the next section, which is one of the most important sections, the frequently asked questions, and I'll show you how to style this. Now for the FAQ section, let's first review the design once. So we have just 3 more sections left, the FAQ section, and then I have done the final call to action section a little differently than the original design, and then we have a footer. All right, so we will quickly cover these. So for the FAQ section, we have a white background, and then we have to update the headline, and then we have 3 FAQs listed here. So we'll go ahead and build these things out. So for the white background, I'll simply go to the section level and I'll choose white background. For this headline FAQ, I will first make the color dark. Maybe there is some issue, so I'll delete this and I will add a headline element from here. And then this will be FAQ. I'll increase this font size to 44. Now we will work on the FAQ element. This is the FAQ element. We will try to replicate, we will try to make this as close to this design as possible. So the first thing that I need to do is select the type of FAQ, which will be separated. If I separate this, this is the exact look that I get, right? Next, I think this is too wide, so let me just reduce the width a little bit like this. This looks better. Now let's play around with the colors of this. So I'll select this element and then I will go to the first line item. Let's go to the color. So the title text color when open, let's keep it black. And also let me change the text font. Let's make it 24. Font family is fine. For the text font, let's make it 24 and let's make the font weight bold. So that's your text font. And for the content font, let's make it 18 pixels font size. And that's it. That's the only setting I need to do here. Now let's go on to the colors. You know what? Let's make the title background dark when open and title text color white when open. All right. And separation line, a little off white. All right. And then content text color is fine. Content background color is white, which is good. Title text color when closed. Title text color when closed is black, which is perfect. Title background color when closed. So let's make this off-white like this. And this is how you can achieve the color that you have in the design. There are various other options for this FAQ element, but for now, the purpose is that to replicate this design here, and I have done that. Now let's move on to the next part, which is the call to action section, final call to action section. So I have created it a little differently. Let's try to create this by adding a brand new section altogether. Let's add a section. Let's add some paddings to this section. I'll add 20 pixel site paddings. And now let's add a one column layout and then get rid of the default paddings from the column, and then duplicate this and make it a two column layout. Now I will stretch this a little further, the left hand side column, so that I can get this look. And now what I'll do is, from the row holding the column, I need to get rid of the left hand side padding. And I will do this setting because you see in this design, it starts from the edge of the page. So I need to make this setting. I'll select the section and I will select this, allow rows to take the entire width. All right, so if I do this, then this will take the entire edge. And then finally, I will add a background color to this. Maybe this color. Let's see how this looks. All right, I need to get rid of the side padding from this. And now you see you got that structure here. You got that structure because now the design is starting from the extreme left edge of this section. Now I will do another thing. Instead of using a background color, I'll get rid of this background color and I will upload a background image because I need this round edge, right? And I can only set that up in an image and upload the image as a background image to this particular column. So I have that now, but you are not able to see this because I need to make some setting for the background. Once the background image is updated, let's make this fill width 100%. And then let's go to the styles for the column and add some padding. Let's do 100 pixels top padding and 100 pixels bottom padding. And you see here now, you can see the round edge on this right upper corner of this. So that's how I have replicated this part. Now the next things are, I need to add some headline and paragraph text and a button. So let's get that going. I will add the headline text here. And for this part of the column, I will apply some padding, let's say 100 pixels padding. And then I will make this left aligned and I'll have this text added. All right. And then I will increase the size of this. Okay, so we have added the headline. Now let's add the description. So for that, I will bring in the paragraph text. I will create some distance between the headline and the description. So I'll add a top margin of 15 pixels. I'll make this left aligned and I will increase this to 20 pixels. And then I will make the font weight normal. And then I will add some right padding to the column. So maybe 60 pixels right padding is okay. All right, so now let's add the button and complete this design. So to add the button, I already have a button created here. I will copy this and I will drag it. I will drag it here and then I will make the button background color dark and the button text color yellow. And then I will adjust the button alignment and make it left aligned. All right, so with this, you achieve this particular design. Now let's move on to the last part, which is basically creating this footer. Now, creating this footer is going to be really easy. I'm just going to get rid of this section as I'm not using this. Now, for this footer, I'm going to get rid of the Google Map embed column altogether. So we just have this much, and then I'm going to put a background color to this section. So I'll select the section and I will add the background color to that. And then I will update the foreground colors of all the other elements here. So all these are white in color. Then let's do the second column. Now let's get rid of this section as well, as this is not in our design. And then finally, let's make this black here, this section. Let's make the background color black. And then, yeah, we need a white logo here. And I'll update the logo image. And that's all. We make this a little off-white like this. And that's all. Like that, we have achieved our design. Oh, I think I have missed one thing. I need to get rid of the bottom padding of this section so that this row completely touches. There is some gap though. Let's see where that gap is coming from. I think it's coming from the row. Let's see. Yes, there is a 10 pixels bottom padding. So let's also get rid of that padding from the row. And now this is perfect. So let's save this design and then let's compare it with our Figma design. So this is the design that we have built out. We have given that funnel a complete makeover. If you compare the original design with what we have created, now you will see the difference. And we have built this based on this Figma design, right? So based on this design, we have built out the entire funnel. I know this has been a long lesson, but I hope you have learned something out of this so that you can, use these learnings to design your own funnels. And as a thank you for watching this entire video, I want to give out this template to you so that you can install it inside your Go High Level account, and you can also go through the settings or maybe use it for your own business. All right, so the share link will be there in the description, and you can go ahead, opt into that and get the share link and install it to your own Go High Level account. Thank you once again for being with me.